scalped, blinded, and nearly killed after the ride in the King's Crown at a carnival in Omaha, Nebraska. Scalped, blinded, and nearly killed. Elizabeth attended a Cinco de Mayo carnival with her mother in 2016 and chose the King's Crown to be her first ever carnival ride. It was her first ride?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Elizabeth! The King's Crown ride consisted of a series of crown-shaped seats that would spin at high speeds, similar to the spinning teacups ride at Disneyland, dude. At one point, Elizabeth's long red hair became entangled in the mechanisms. As the ride continued to spin, her hair and scalp were being slowly peeled off her head. You know what's too is, you know, she was screaming in pain, but people were just like, we gotta get in line for this one.
She said she blacked out.
You would have to black out. With that kind of pain? Oh, dude, I would be beg God, I'd say, black me the out, dude. Bystanders stated the ride went on for 10 minutes as it ripped and pulled at Elizabeth's scalp. Eventually, her hair was severed, freeing her, but Elizabeth suffered critical injuries to her head. Even the muscles that were connected to her eyes were seriously damaged as well. Her hair got ripped so hard that it blinded her. Because of this, she couldn't see or speak and had to communicate through the squeezing of her hand while in the hospital. You know the expression, you get dealt a bad hand? This is a hand covered in diarrhea. That is unbelievable.
Literally the worst story I've ever heard. But one, definitely in the top 5.
Like her head was smushed. Elizabeth had to undergo several skin grafts, head surgeries, and an eye surgery, and multiple blood transfusions. Despite the tragedy, she was in high spirits and even insisted on making a public appearance alongside her mother. Elizabeth was praised for a surprisingly positive outlook, stating, "My scars don't define me. Nobody's scars should define them."
Scars don't define me. Nobody's scars should define me.
Oh, you're
She is
fantastic.
Way better than I ever would. I would be kicking and screaming, way more emotionally mature than I could ever be. Her mother has filed ongoing lawsuits against the state of Nebraska, as well as a company that manufactures the carnival rides, citing negligence. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
How do you allow some spinning part?
Sue them into
How do
the
you allow it? I'll tell
goddamn
you why, is
ground.
because the guy running the machine should have no business touching any of that equipment. I don't think I've ever been to a carnival where I'm just like, you know, I never really say this, but these carnies look very respectable. Is that right? And he has like a fucking belly button ring that he's like flicking. He's like doing like cigarette tricks with it. Hope it up to his mouth. But we move on to a teenager who died at the church carnival. A 16-year-old girl passed away after being flung from a ride called the Sizzler.
Where was
I think
Jesus?
with the amount of injuries that are happening at these carnivals, I think it should be illegal to have any goofy names. I think it should just be Ride 1, Ride 2, in that order. Ride called the Sizzler at St. Thomas Aquinas Church Carnival in East El Paso, Texas. The Sizzler was a popular spinning ride made for all ages. During the ride, the woman was ejected from her
So glad
seat
I hated
and was
that shit
struck
when I was
by
a
a
kid,
metal
man.
barricade. Her friend who sat
didn't know I
beside her
could
was
get my
also launched out the
goddamn
ride. Okay, I didn't laugh.
head
I
ripped
wasn't
off.
laughing. It's just the idea. You can't put launched in there without being cartoonish, okay? That is fucking horrible. Being flung and then just being immediately smashed by a fucking barricade. The girl died at the hospital soon after, and her friend luckily survived and did not receive any life-threatening injuries. Well, at least thank God. But an investigation began, but there was no word of legal action being taken by the victim's family. Dude, don't worry. This isn't the last of
This what happened.
Sizzler. Because any life-threatening, the woman was ejected from her seat and was struck by a metal barricade. Her friend who sat beside her was also launched out the ride. Okay, I wasn't laughing. It's just while attending no seatbelts. Well, the bars spinning horizontally go on to when the Sizzler took another life. The same ride! In 2019, while attending the Deerfield Township Harvest Festival, Haley McMullen was thrown from a ride called the Extreme Super Sizzler! They made it more powerful! It's a goddamn Dragon Ball Z transformation, dude. Similar to the normal Sizzler, it is a ride consisting of several suspended cars spinning horizontally at high speeds. All of these ran with 4 lawnmower batteries. And a guy brought it up literally at his F-150, and it's like, don't worry, we took 7 minutes to prepare this when we got here. Have fun. It is important to note that while the ride was equipped with safety bars, there was no seat belts. Well, the bar should hold you in. Do we have any seat belts? You got the bar. You got fat thighs. You'll be all right. I don't know about you, stick bug. Good luck. After being thrown out the ride, Haley tried to get up from under the ride's operating platform, but was repeatedly struck in the process. This led to serious brain injury. So she was flown from it, tried getting up, and just kept going. She was airlifted to the hospital as soon as possible, but died an hour later. The inspection reports that were released seem to show that the ride was in full compliance with safety regulations. We need to do more with these carnival rides, dude. They're getting off too scot-free. What are the safety regulations? All right, guys. You have to be able to pick her up and put her down in about 9 minutes. Can you do that? Live in La Vida Loca at the carnival here. Or we could talk about the carnival tower slamming onto the ground. In 2022, during a traveling carnival in India, 16 people were injured after a malfunction with a drop tower carnival ride. These always scared the shit out of me. Looks like a weird flying saucer. I almost expect those motherfuckers to just... You know what I mean? After rising 50 feet into the air, the carousel tower plummeted down and slammed onto the ground. The impact was so intense that the passenger seats bounced into the air from sheer force. Oh, God. How many people do you think just like immediately shattered their pelvis? I mean, like on the impact there, like your pelvis and probably broke their spine or something. Oh my God. You see people, God, they force. Yeah. 16 people were injured after a malfunction with a drop tower carnival ride. These always scared the shit out of me. Looks like a weird flying saucer. I almost expect those motherfuckers to just... You know what I mean? After rising 50 feet into the air, the carousel tower plummeted down and slammed onto the ground. The impact was so intense that the passenger seats bounced into the air from sheer force. Oh, God. How many people do you think just like immediately shattered their pelvis? I mean, like on the impact there, like your pelvis and probably broke their spine or something. Oh my God. You see people... God damn, it's like toss of a coin. According to an eyewitness, the bouncers of the rides were trying to threaten us. Later, the employees of the organizers also fled the scene. Wait, so eyewitness people, the people who were like running on the ride were just like, don't fucking tell anybody. And then the people were like, the cops are coming. They just like ran once again. The carnival organizers later claimed that the entire thing was due to a technical malfunction. Really? The MWIII police described the organizers as, quote, negligent and stated that they wish to take strict action against those responsible. There has been no update since. Wow, God, really good job. We need to make sure these people come to justice. How's it going? Oh, but... Oh, they're gone. They ran into the woods. I couldn't find them. They're gone. Or in 2019, a 9-year-old child was injured standing next to a carnival ride at a carnival in Midlothian. One of the rides, the Ferris Fury, which is a giant swinging ship with 2 large heads on either side, smashed into the neighboring ride. We have also something called the Viking's Voyage. It's like a giant boat.
Yep, that's what it is.
One time someone was going, a guy leaned his head off the side. He did. And you could just see the throw up trail all the way across. And then, like the fucking like 16-year-old kid working the like ticket booth thing, he was like, and he popped open this little shelf underneath. He just grabbed cat litter and he was like, the force of the impact caused the ride's giant pharaoh head to break off, fly into the air, and land directly on top of the child. That's just, once again, bad luck.
Almost comedic.
Exactly. It's like, according to a witness, we were sitting behind the head when it fell off and hit the kid. We looked down and it was laying on top of him and his head was full of blood. What a fucking haunting quote. Also, I feel like they could have been a little more respectful. You know, he looked around, that kid's face was just covered in blood. Can we get out of here? I want to get stopped by the Dippin' Dot stand. Paramedics transported the boy to a local hospital to treat his injuries. The case is now under investigation. Look at that big ass head too, dude.
When I saw this picture, I thought the kid was still under there.
Like a Looney Tunes cartoon. Just my luck. Or in 2023, a 10-year-old boy named Huntley Daniels was severely injured after being flung off the Moby Dick ride at Antioch's Taste of Summer Festival. Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I would go on a ride named Moby Dick. I like Moby Dick. I like the story. Captain Ahab, Starbuck. The Moby Dick ride locks down each attendee over the shoulder and rotates clockwise, gradually increasing in speed. Actually, you know what? Never mind. After seeing the picture of it, I wouldn't do that. This is just like the Magic Carpet ride. Whenever it's a long row of seats, you're not getting me on that motherfucker for real. According to Huntley, the bar that locked him in kept rising higher and higher with each turn. Oh shit. That's the problem with these things, dude. You cannot yell for help. Especially me as a kid. Anytime I was afraid, I was like, Mom! My mom would just laugh. Mom loves seeing me in anguish and peril. After trying to push it back down repeatedly, it eventually came undone, causing Elliot to be catapulted. It's not funny, but it's the verbiage of being like catapulted. He's like, oh, it gets undone. He's just, Huntley was in critical condition after the impact, receiving various facial and jaw fractures. There was significant damage to the bones in his legs as well. He was flown to multiple hospitals throughout the whole ordeal and had to receive surgery. An investigation was conducted to confirm if, quote, the incident resulted from a mechanical failure, operator error, or a combination thereof. No further update has been provided. What do these people do on researching this stuff? On following up on justice, there was an investigation to be had. We're getting down to the bottom of it in time. A lot of time. It's like it's the Moby Dick ride, dude. If it was like a Disney park ride, I'd be like, well, of course they're gonna throw you through all kinds of loopholes and stuff. The Moby Dick State Fair ride, dude. The carnival ride, word. Or in 2017, a 13-year-old girl in China passed away after being thrown off the Travel Through Space ride in China. You can't fucking have a kid get thrown off a ride called Travel Through Space, dude. This feels calculated, is what this feels like to me. This is a ride that moves at very high speeds and it rotates 360 degrees vertically. During the ride, the young woman's seatbelt breaks and the safety bar meant to hold her in place was not tight enough, which sends her spinning around 360 degrees as she holds on desperately to the bar. So it flung her and she was being spun like a disc. This resulted in her slamming up against the pair of iron bars. Bystanders came to her aid and took her to the hospital, where she unfortunately passed away. The woman's family reached a compensation agreement with the park for the wrongful death of their child, which she received essentially 127,000 USD. And apparently, in December of 2016, the ride had passed inspection. Once again, I don't think these motherfuckers are really looking. I think they're just like, oh, bright colors, cool. There you go. Administrators ordered companies operating the Travel Through Space ride across the country to immediately suspend its use. Well, this is a heartwarming video, dude. Apologies for all the child mutilation and death. I thought when we were going to read this, it was going to be a lot more drunk adults doing some stupid stuff. When in fact, it's literally just the negligence of people being like, are you strapped in? What? And the guy's already walking away. It's so fucked. In 2024, an 8-year-old child fell off a carnival ride in Waco, Texas during the Extraco Event Center. It is not specified what ride the young boy was on, but the police found him with his ears sliced open from top to bottom. They found him with his ears sawed in half, basically. It was expected the child would need surgery by a pediatric plastic surgeon. Although the ride is unknown, the fault of the injury is more so linked to the ride operator, 38-year-old Cody James Harkness. The ride operator was determined by the police officers to be under the influence of some type of combination of drugs. That's odd from a carny. That's odd from a carnival ride. That's really? Harkness already had previous convictions for drug possession and drunk driving, which didn't help his case. He was charged with intoxication assault while operating a ride. The condition of the boy is currently unknown. I hope he's okay. This feels like the last the official beacon of like, you've done everything wrong in your life. You can still put in a job application at a fucking carnival and get a job. How is that?
But you got your wish. Drunken person.
I don't think that was my wish. I don't think I was wishing for that. I don't think I was like, oh, please make it be a drunk guy hurting a child, please. In 2024, at the Matama Festival in Vigo, a middle-aged man was crushed to death on a ride known as the Grasshopper. The ride consists of a ring of carts that raise up and down while spinning in a circle. According to an eyewitness, one of the arms of the ride broke off while it was in the air. This caused the passenger compartment to fall on the ground, trapping the man between the seat and the railing. Oh my God. Firefighters used special equipment to free his body from the machine, but it was too late. The man died at the scene of the accident before he could be taken to a hospital. I wonder how long he was sitting there for. Was it something when they're just like, the fire department's on their way? They couldn't do anything, so it was like 20 minutes, you know, an hour, who knows? In 2017, Eugene Maharaki passed away from a fatal head injury after falling off the Cha-Cha ride at Rye Easter Carnival. The Cha-Cha ride is a low-to-the-ground ride that spins around on 2 axes, gradually increasing in speed. Eugene was placed on one of the outside seats, which were specifically meant for adults and bigger children. As the ride sped up, Eugene slipped out from under the safety bar and was flung onto the side of the ride, striking his head. Because God forbid, the operators can just do their job. It's so frustrating. This child should be alive. He's just like, I don't care, dude. You buckled up or not? After being sent to the hospital, it became clear soon that there was nothing that could be done to save him. After being on life support for days, his parents eventually pulled the plug. An investigation began and the restraints on the ride were deemed to not be compliant with the Australian standards. Evidence was slowly being gathered that suggested that Lucas Kohler, the man operating the ride, should not have been working on the ride on his own, as he was not trained enough to do so. No. Like, it's the first day here. You don't mind if I fucking work the church all day? I love that one when I was a kid. The coroner offered Whitting's Glow Amusements protection from self-incrimination in the event that they provide evidence against the claims made. Even so, they refused. God damn it, they're a ride or die. They're a ride or die for Lucas Kohler. Like, I know he has worked there for 3 weeks, but Lucas Kohler is the sharpest egg we have. Just like smoking crack in the back corner. He's like, hey, God, I find chaw real smooth for real. Lastly, let's talk about what happened in the Dominican Republic during the Salcedo Carnival earlier this year. While the incident didn't take place on a ride, it just goes to show how janky and unprofessional some of these carnivals can be. All of them, every single carnival. You go to a carnival and run away from that thing. The Sisters of Fate are there to cut your strings of life immediately, okay? During the event, a set of fireworks inexplicably exploded. Without question, just exploded. And it was reported that the fireworks were mishandled and directed at the attendees before getting set off. These look like bazookas heading towards the guests, don't it?
You better believe it, Bubba. Hey, but keep your menthol cigarette off that wick, man.
Semtex out.
People dancing in full-body costumes were suddenly engulfed in flames. It's only funny because it's just full-body costumes. And just immediately they're just like, yeah, all these costumes, 100% cotton. I love, you know what? It's kind of itchy or whatever, but it's great. And they just begging to be lit on fire. Amidst the chaos, bystanders rushed to grab water and ice trying to put out the flames. And it was reported that over 15 people, 10 of which were being young children, were extremely burned and had to seek immediate medical attention. Because God forbid we can go a day in a carnival without a child just passing away. God forbid! The people of Mexico collectively donated 3,600 square centimeters of skin grafts in order to provide aid for those affected. And that's fucking cool, dude. People are just like, I got enough skin, dude. You want my fucking skin? Here, take it. I feel like I would try to donate mine. They just like, put it back. Is it just greasy, fat skin, dude, all tatted up? A 4-year-old getting this on the, yeah. 5 children have died from the incident. Of course. The youngest of which being a 5-year-old. The world's awesome. The man hailing the fireworks was Elvis Santos. He did not have the proper experience or authorization to work with pyrotechnics. The carnival operators have broken me. I'm a broken man. I just like having to fuck with these carnival operators. Elvis Santos was put under house arrest and charged for his part in the detonating of the fireworks. I don't know how to live with yourself, but there it is. In conclusion, this is just the layer of skin off the top of a giant bowl of pudding of carnival accidents, okay? It doesn't matter how fun and how many bright lights are on a machine. If it's attached to an F-150 or operated by a man that you're almost positive is high on meth, don't get on it. Don't let carnivals lure you in with shitty carnival games and funnel cakes, dude. I've been there too many times. Luckily, I'm still here. Do not let them win. If you have a child that you are taking care of, if it's your child, your friend, my niece, my nephew, keep them away from carnivals because it is a dark, dangerous place. When I say this, I'm going to say this with my chest. I don't trust a single person that works in a carnival. I don't trust any machine that can just be taken down in 2 minutes and then it's supposed to propel people at high speeds for 12 hours a day for a weekend. Death to carnivals, death to these machines. We need to just stick to amusement parks where bad stuff only happens sometimes. That's all I got today. Hope you felt good after hearing this one. Thanks, dude. See ya.
Donna and Jimmy Garrison of Baltimore. That's him waving and her holding on for dear life. She actually got on this ride because she's afraid of heights. You were hoping to conquer your fear of heights? Yes. What they didn't bargain for was that the wind seeker would get stuck 300 feet up for 4 excruciating hours.
God was like, no, you should be afraid of this.
Let's see what my goat is saying.
Try to take you out.
So I'm going to give you some big breaking news.
Aaron is 18. He's handsome. He's tall. He's rich.
He's got the whole ball.
He's unleashed in New York City. Are you sure you want to reverse Roe v. Wade now?
I'm going to make this country great again. It's not a great country right now.
It's always a great country. See, it's always a great country.
Noting fresh
I'm good with names,
Tampon Tim was good. Is
the
that?
problem with Tampon Tim? It's hard to say. There are some like Kamala. It's a little hard to say. She's not bad. When you put the names together, it's a little like you got to be able to peel.
Did it? Answer the question.
And they know it's a lie.
Dusted him.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Flagrant.
Cheers.
And
There they are.
today, this is the first time that we've been able to say this. We're sitting down with Mr. President. Mr. President, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, fellas.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. This is awesome. We have a bunch of questions. We're very, very grateful for your time. I just became a dad. My buddy over there just became a dad once. And okay, so here's first question. You have these children that are seemingly well-adjusted, successful, and I think most importantly, they appear to like you.
Yeah.
Okay. I grew up in the city, and there's a lot of people who have like very wealthy parents, and like the kids kind of resent them. They're almost like waiting for them to like, and they end up in like rehab,
doing drugs, God knows what. Yeah.
How do you raise them in the public eye where they, still become ambitious and successful?
So I do have good kids, and 5 really wonderful children, and different.
This is great content, and if you don't recognize this as great content, I don't know what to tell you. Chad is getting in its own way once again. If you have any issues with this, like, this is gonna be good.
Very different. They are so different, but you know what?
And it has 2.7 million views.
One thing that was in common that I did, I always used to say when I was with them, or when they were leaving a room, I would drive them crazy. No drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. I would say that.
Did you say that to Don Jr.?
Yeah, Don's a little wild.
Yeah, he does coke.
Yeah, he can be a little tough.
He told me a funny story.
Go ahead.
Okay. I talked to a bunch of people. I was trying to, prepare for this. He told me a funny story. And he said to me, he goes, once he asked if he could have a couple of his friends over for New Year's. Was it New Year's? No, it was July 4th.
Right.
On top of Trump Tower.
Right.
And you said yes. He's like, I want 5 friends. You're like, okay, I'm out of town. Go for it. He brings 200 people over to Trump Tower. Okay?
That's right.
Okay. He says that you weren't supposed to be there. You end up showing up. You hear some noise upstairs. You come up. You go, what the? Because everybody's doing here. Get the hell out of my house. He said he cleaned for the next 36 hours. And he said, to this day, you have never brought up that it even happened. And he said, I'm starting to believe it might not have happened. Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, is there a question? Jesus.
No, it happened. No, I can never give. You can never forget. A lot of people like to forget things. You can't know. He's a good guy. And, he's taken a lot because he was always a good student. He went to the Wharton School of Finance, which is great, and he did well. But he went into the world of politics not because he wanted to, but because I was there, and I sort of automatically you drag the family in. Mm-hmm. And this guy, what he had to go through with Russia. He goes, Dad, they're asking me questions about Russia. I don't know anything about Russia. What's going on? And all of a sudden, he's in front of grand juries. He's in front of Congress. It was a hoax. It was a total hoax. Yeah. This was a made-up hoax by crazy Nancy Pelosi and these, the maniacs. Yeah. Hillary Clinton, who's totally nuts. Yeah. And this went on for 2 years. And he'd always say, Dad, I know nothing about this stuff. And he'd go before the grand jury, and Comey. You have Comey, who's the worst, just a bad guy.
That's the worst.
He went through a lot, and it actually made him tougher. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's good or bad, but he's a tough cookie, that one.
Yeah.
And it made, in his case, it made him tougher. Ivanka did a great job. She didn't want anything. All she wanted to do was get people jobs. I would have made her the ambassador to the UN. I wanted to do that. I think she would have been.
What? I do think this is bad as a softball interview, man. You criticize it for other people you don't like. Why not Trump? Wait, what? Yeah, I know it's a softball interview. What the fuck are you talking about? We've moved past that point. Now is the time to see how normies are going to see Trump in an appealing fashion. And what that might do for his election chances. Yeah. After the Theo Vaughn, I was like, bro, Donald Trump is getting humanized at an alarming rate for a lot of the low propensity voters out here in this entire podcast circuit. At first, I was like, the Aiden Ross shit is neither here nor there. But having said that, since then, he's done a lot of these placements. And he's cooking. He just comes across as very normal, which is it's definitely, I think it's definitely working. Yeah, his vibes are very 2016, witty, off the cuff, smooth. Yeah.
Enemy securing
Bravo. Incredible. The whole aura.
In my opinion, it's bizarre that you interviewing a Yemeni teenager is considered outrageous and immoral, but clowns interviewing a monster is applauded. The West cesspool of hypocrisy. You don't need to agree with this take, but it's the truth. Oh no, 100%. No, absolutely. I said this after the America deserved 9/11 comment. Like, people, I got banned for that. People say Iran deserves a nuke every day. And you get elevated for saying things like that. It's because around these parts, we don't see people on your side of the world as human beings. That's it. That's it. It's pure Western chauvinism. It is the underpinning of empire. It is the only way to keep up Western imperialism without ever considering that we're dishing out.
She would have been great, but she didn't want that. She didn't, and that would have been a very glamorous position. She would have been.
Can you forget that this man literally just said Haitians? Like, what are we talking about? He sounds normal. He does. He sounds normal here.
The enemy has captured 2
That's the problem.
Get them secure.
People forget that he said he's. Well, you know how people could remember that if Kamala Harris actually launched a counter messaging campaign against his anti-immigrant screeds. But yes, 2 days ago said immigrants have that caused them to dog. That was like not even a week ago. He said that. But especially in this day and age, in this media cycle, if one major group is not constantly hammering that point, people are going to forget. People are going to move past it. So take it up with them, not me. What do you want me to do? How much more can I cover Trump's eugenics? People literally forget that there's a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour here, okay? And I repeat that shit at the top of the hour every hour. And people still forget. And then I tell them, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you could do for $6 or for free. People forget that too. People forget that you can get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Right there.
Purely in sports candidates, you would consider watching Kamala Harris start interviewing full after this? Probably not. The less I watch Kamala Harris, the better it is for her chances, at least in this community. The more I watch Donald Trump, the better it is for Kamala Harris's chances in this community. Because when I watch Donald Trump, I'm going to when I watch Kamala Harris, it makes me want to find myself in a video game.
All she did is go to see companies and hire people. She wanted, and she hired, I think it was like 10 million people, some incredible amount of people. She'd go to Walmart, she'd go to Exxon, she'd go to these big companies and see if she could get groups of people hired. And she loved doing it. There was no glamour, there was no anything, but she got people jobs. That made it.
So how do you instill the ambition in the kids? I think a lot of kids that grow up with wealth, they kind of are lazy and they feel like they have no direction in life. A lot of times they kind of like go to like, how do you instill the ambition?
Well, you know, I've seen a lot of wealthy families where the kids mostly don't work out too well. Some turn out to be bad kids, but they end up hating the father, or the father maybe wanted them in business. I mean, I have one father that's very competitive with his son. If the son were more successful than him, he would be unhappy. I said, are you crazy? It's supposed to be the other way around. My father was so proud of me. He was a successful guy.
Dog, your father bailed you out like 11 times. What are you talking about? And you still bankrupt the casino.
But my father wanted me to be more successful. I mean, he was so proud of all the things. I wish you could have seen what happened because we did things. But he was, you know, he's just a proud father.
What do you think?
And I think most fathers are that way. But I've known many fathers that are very successful that didn't want to, that broke up over their son's success. If, you know, in the few cases where the son was more successful, which was very seldom, actually. It was very seldom. You take people like in sports, because in sports you see it because it's a microcosm of life, but it's quicker. And you'll take like the greatest golfers and they'll have a son and he'll be really good as a young, but they never supersede, almost, I can't think of any, they never supersede the father in terms of success. And in sports generally.
What the fuck is he even talking about?
And it really is a sort of a microcosm of life. But with life, it takes a lot longer to find out the end result.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we said you're a great father up top. First thing you say is, I've got great kids. You didn't take credit. And then your entire...
Please! Oh my God, bro. Take his out of your mouth. Take his out of your mouth. Oh my God. Wipe the before you speak. Holy dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. Please!
Answer. That was really cool. Your entire answer is about how great your kids are. That was a very cool thing.
Thank you. That's very nice.
Oh, that's so bad. That's so bad, bro. Bro, that is. Woo!
We're taking Bravo.
Buddy.
listen to you. I think it's right. And by the way, congratulations. I hear your show is like is crazy monster success.
We're doing pretty good. We're very we're interviewing presidents.
It's really good. And right in the middle of a campaign with only 29 days to go.
Yeah.
And you're taking up time.
Just to talk about your family.
Yeah, we're just complimenting.
You know what it is?
I don't think that there's a group of individuals on the planet that relate themselves to podcast hosts. Podcast hosts.
We've secured 2 objectives.
It's a different world out there. You guys and some others.
Yeah.
We've taken the lead.
You know, we had the standard television stuff for many years, and that's still. I think it's underrated now. I think it's still very important. But there's a whole new thing. Elon interviewed me on something.
Yeah.
And I think they said 275 million. Wow.
That's a lot of people.
That was a revelation. It's a whole new different way of getting the word out.
About Elon specifically, is he your favorite African American?
He's a piece of work. Okay. You know, he's a great guy. I mean, he's obviously a very good guy. When I saw the rocket engines come back, I said, what is that? Like a couple of years ago, you ever see rockets go up and then they crash into the water? And I see that the engines are coming back and they're landing. It's very funny. They're landing.
There's nothing that reminds me that I'm just like not living in the same plane of existence as these people than like the relentless Elon glazing. Every time I hear people talk about him on like these terms, I'm just like, we are not on the same planet, dude. We just straight up are living in alternative realities, I think. I'm in a parallel universe. Like, it doesn't make any sense, dude. Donald Trump himself has made fun of Elon. One of his greatest banger quotes was like, Elon would come to my house and suck me off. Like, is Elon your favorite African American? Is like, yeah, sure. Haha, it's funny. Okay, I've heard it a million times over. It's neither here nor there. But like when they just start talking about how brilliant he is, I'm like, how? Like, you don't, there's no way you have to believe this. Like, there's no way you can believe this, right? Like, it just, oh my God. It makes no sense. I hate that more than like thinking that Donald Trump is a good dad.
And they land on a raft in the middle of the ocean someplace with a little dot, and they land right on the top of the spot.
And my wife can't parallel park.
I know. Most people can't. But no, he's great. But he's got a great heart. He was with me, as you know, on the other night. Yeah. And we were honoring a man who was at a rally, Corey, firefighter, great guy. And it was a beautiful evening. But Elon went out, and he loved the crowd. He loves the country. Yeah. And he's picked a side. A lot of people don't want to pick a side. I have a lot of people that are big supporters of me. Yeah. But they won't go all out. You know, they can't.
They're scared.
There's a cost. Yeah. There's a cost.
Yeah, totally. Major cause for being a supporter of the guy who was the former president. This is like, this is straight up fake victimhood nonsense that right-wingers ran on for so goddamn long, dude. It's the same. They did this in like 2016. Oh, we're the silent majority. It's like, you are not silent, okay? You should be. And you are not the majority either. Yeah, this is also a good point. Trump admitting that there's a social cost to siding with him is pretty funny. But yeah, it just basically says like, it basically shows that he understands that he is like a repulsive individual in the eyes of many. I guess he sees that. He's a room leader, you know?
There is a cost, but there's also a liability. I mean, you know, some people, I respect it a lot. Like, this guy was up there doing jumping jacks. You gotta vote for Trump. You gotta vote for
jumping high.
Yeah. Jumping high. He's in Africa. He's a good... I'm looking at his waist. I'm saying, wait a minute, does he work out? He really, and he had a great time. And you know, he's
wait, what? Trump saw his waist and said, does he work out or something? Oh my God. He did not think that. We saw the photos, dog. You can't lie. You look grossed out. He looked utterly repulsive.
He's not out that much. He's probably maybe a little, would you say he's a little...
Get out of our country. I can hear it now and again. Trump champ, please do not ban this guy, mods. I love this guy. They're just begging for a chance to be begging. Yeah. Dude, Donald Trump is so intensely disliked. How does it make you feel that you're a candidate, got almost twice and it didn't even move the polls remotely. Like, that's how much they despise him. And part of that is because of you, okay? You are the reason. Because Donald Trump aside, because he's like somewhat charismatic and can be funny and human at times, even though he's a charlatan and a psychopath, his supporters are some of the most clueless, delusional, angry, monstrous pieces of in every village, town, municipality, state. You know when a Trump supporter is coming, okay? They got this scent on them. They're just walking around angry all the time. Half the time they're imagining that there's like around, even though they're not wrong. There is a pedophile there. It's usually the Trump supporter. Like, it's just gross. Y'all are gross. How does that make you feel? That anger and resentment that you have towards the liberal elites that have ruined your life. Like, you're ruining your life, man. Go take a shower. Take the ugly ass off. Take it off your body. Be normal. Stop reading on Facebook. Integrate yourself back into normal society, please. Jesus, Lord, mercy. Living in a parallel universe. It's moments like the Elon Musk jump that remind me that these people are just so brain broken. Like, when Elon Musk was jumping up and down and people were posting about him on Twitter, like, he's so sexy. He's so cool. I was like, damn, dude, these people have like deluded themselves so goddamn hard. They've deluded themselves so goddamn hard. They're just like looking at something that you normally with your lizard brain could react to in a certain way. Like, everyone sees that and they're like, what? Ew, what are you doing? What are you, a child? Meanwhile, these guys are like, nah, he's sick. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. Friendly reminder. Damn, Elon Musk has blocked this link from being shown. They're like, yo, he had Trump. Trump is like, I saw. I was like, damn, do you work out? No, he did not think that at the moment. What a dork, dude. What a loser he is.
Reclusive, possibly.
Yeah. He's also busy. He's got like 5 different
he's
companies.
very busy and maybe a little reclusive. Yeah. But he had the greatest time. He was saying, look at these people. We had 100,000, more than 100,000 people.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
It was a record. It was, nobody's ever seen. And it was really, it was a celebration of a life. And it was really it was a mega deal.
Yeah.
And he was a big MAGA person. His family was there. And 2 other people that were very badly hurt were also celebrated. They were very badly hurt. They weren't actually expected to live. Yeah. And they lived. And they had incredible doctors. Some of those country doctors are better than the big doctors that we spend a lot of money on. And they don't do as good. I will tell you right now. I don't want to knock anybody, but those country doctors saved 2 people, because I was told that 3 would... No, think of that. 3 would be in trouble, and 3 were going to, now Corey immediately, but the other 2 were so bad that they thought they wouldn't make it. Yeah. And those country doctors, they pulled them together. They did a great job.
Okay, so you're going back into this place where, there was this.
Yeah.
You can also tell, like, again, his resentment for anyone that doesn't immediately live in New York or Miami, Florida, is so apparent. He's like, those country doctors, they're veterinarians. Basically, they're working on animals for the most part. He is such an elitist, dude.
You survive.
Like, straight up, imagine Kamala Harris saying something like that, bro. Oh my God. They would be, they'd be like, wow, Kamala Harris, bi-coastal elitist, talking about how country doctors can't. There'd be like a Republican TikTok campaign of like every anti-vaxxer nurse across the planet, every anti-vaxxer nurse across the continental United States doing TikTok dances being like, country girls make do, country doctors make do. Yeah.
It was not a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you scared?
Better, by the way.
No, I'm not scared. I have an attitude. It's interesting. It's sort of, it is what it is. Does that make any sense to you guys? You do what you have to do. I felt it was important to go back. A lot of people, I guess, agreed with me, because it was over 100. I think they said 108,000 people in the end. That's a lot of people.
Super Bowl.
And I had no guitar. You know, if you have a guitar, it's easy. If you don't have a guitar...
I said Qatar.
Yeah.
I have guitar. I do have that. They like me very much. But I don't have a guitar.
Yeah, you have a guitar. Yeah.
So anyway, but that was it was amazing. I mean, no, I like it when somebody like Elon, who has a lot to lose, is willing to do what's right.
Yeah.
Some people know it's right to do, and I'm not just talking about endorsements and all, but they don't want to do things because
they don't want it to cost
they want to be politically correct. And actually, they're doing a bad thing, I think, for themselves and for a lot of people they may represent.
Okay, opening line when you walk out there.
So, right.
I mean,
I was wondering what you were going to say, and as a comedian, you can seize the moment.
Yeah.
And
I hear he's a hell of a comedian, by the way.
I appreciate
That's
that.
what the word is.
So I hear you I hear, I see the video and you go up there and you go, as I was saying.
Right.
Crowd goes berserk or what?
They went, I would say, crazy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
Biggest
sure.
pop you've experienced?
I'll tell you how, you have this as a comedian or even not as a comedian, just when you make a speech or you make some very serious statement.
Yeah.
So we're at a very serious and somber thing because we're celebrating a life that is no longer with us. And I wasn't sure whether or not that thing, I had it in my mind for a long time. Once I said I'm going back, which I wanted to go back immediately, I wanted to actually finish my speech, okay? When I got up, I said, let me finish my speech. But I'm surrounded by like 8 very...
No, you didn't. You said, where are my shoes? I need my shoes.
Large, strong men and a very wonderful woman. You saw that.
Yeah.
But I'm surrounded by guys. They said, sir, no way, go. And I pointed out, but I really wanted to finish my speech. I said, I think I had like 50,000. I had a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And, when I went down, I was sort of like embarrassed. I said, I went down in front of all these people. That was my first thing. I don't want to be embarrassed.
You were embarrassed that you went down after being shot?
Well, you weren't exactly sure what the hell was happening at first,
But also, you came back up with the fist raise. That's one of the hardest pictures.
But I was also,
Did you hear them?
Glaze! Oh, my God! Oh, my God, bro. Jesus Christ. Every time this man speaks, oh my God, it was one of the hardest pictures, bro. It was one of the hardest pictures, bro. I swear. How is he outflanking Andrew on this? That's his specialty. That's crazy that, you go on Flagrant and you are outflanking Andrew Schultz on glazing the guest, no matter who it is. That's crazy.
Say he's down, or were you just
when I assume that it is sort of strange, but now it's a little bit, we can smile a little bit, but not really, because 3 guys, one, two very badly. But when I went down, I had total realization. It wasn't as surreal. They talk about the surreal. That could be a surreal experience, like when something happens, people they lose focus, they have no idea where they are. I've heard many people where that happens. My son Don told me, actually.
I'm bored of the story. It didn't happen. It's not real. It's AI image. Everybody knows it. All right, move on.
So is Eric. They're great. They're like better than Scratch, okay, if you use And they say it's amazing because it was 130 yards. To me, that sounds like far away, but it's not. It's not. He said that would be like sinking a 1-foot putt for just a decent. Wow. And I don't know if you guys, but they said that it's almost impossible to miss. It's that close. It's really considered that close. I mean, 300, 400, 500 yards is very doable, but this is supposed to be very close. And so he said, I think Don became more religious, actually. You want to know that had a
yeah, okay, dude. Sure, bud.
Big impact. He said it's impossible. The doctor, actually, when I got to the hospital, they were fantastic. Butler Hospital. I get there, and the doctor greeted me and he looked at me and looked it over. He said, you are the luckiest man I've ever met.
Wow.
He said, you should immediately go out and buy a lotto ticket. Can you imagine? He's telling me to buy a lotto ticket. It's all over the place. And he said, I've been doing this for 25 years. He said, I've never seen a thing like this.
Wow.
Because it's just whacked it, but it was something that was relatively not so bad compared to what could have happened. So I feel very lucky. It was an amazing experience, a horrible experience in most ways. In some ways, it was beautiful because I was somehow I hopefully Corey's protected too, who's the firefighter, and he's in a good place, maybe a better place than we're in here, because this world is a little bit on the tough side. But it was an amazing experience.
Do you feel like a increase in your spirituality after something like
Well, maybe, especially when I'm hearing from people that do and are good at it, that it was almost impossible to miss from, like a 1 foot putt. You
start to
very
believe.
hard. You got to miss it. That's a bad putt, right?
Yeah.
He equated it to a 1 foot putt. When they say that, I say, oh, that's so weird you're saying. They said, a bag would you from that distance 100% of the time.
Wow.
That's pretty bad. And here I am. We're doing this wonderful interview with 4 geniuses that are hot as pistols. Right there on this guy.
Likewise, sir.
Pretty good stuff you got. So anyway, but here we are.
Who do you think tried to take you out?
So I'm going to give you some big breaking news, right?
Love that.
Because I know the kind of show and it's entertainment, but it's also very serious. I mean, I get the whole picture. And you know what? If it was just funny stuff, you wouldn't have the success you've got, to be honest with you, right? It's nice to intersperse it, but I'll give you something. So, first of all, I have great respect for the Secret Service. And the guys that were with me, I went down and I did a good job going down because if I would have been up for another couple of seconds, I also wouldn't have been here. And I didn't consider that as lucky as turning to the right at that one. It was like 1/16 of a second. Was the only time that I was safe, essentially. Right. If I would have gone a little further, I would have been. If I would have gone not as far, I would have been. I mean, like at this little tiny moment. And the amazing thing is, the sign is always on my left, and it's always at the end.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Who does Trump think tried to get him? Okay, that's a good question.
I only use it. You have this shooter, and you have the elf there. So you have this shooter, and you have another guy. So this had 3 or so cell phones.
You know what's really funny? Under normal circumstances, the primary victim is probably one of the more knowledgeable people that you can go to ask about like additional information that you might not have been privy to. But Donald Trump is such a serial liar that immediately when he starts talking about like or what their background is, I immediately am like, there's no way what he's saying is truthful. Like I just caught myself as soon as he started talking about the cell phones or whatever. I was like, oh, he's gonna lie. I don't even know if he's actually lying here. But I'm so used to him just like lying about every basic fact, about every single thing, that immediately I'm like, oh, he's probably gonna lie here. It's a funny situation.
I've never gotten them open. Wow. The other 3 apps they got, and I believe they were foreign-based apps, from what I understand.
They will not surprise probably Telegram. Yeah, he lives in Ukraine.
They haven't opened them, and they're foreign-based. And you hear all about Iran, because I was rough with Iran, but I want to see Iran do great. I want to see Iran do great.
Yeah.
But I want to stop all the noise, and I was rough with Iran, and they supposedly have it on me. In fact, I think it takes great courage for you people to be interviewing me, because it could be now.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know that before we got in here.
No, if you would have known that, you might not have done this.
Exactly.
In fact, this is a good way of beginning the interview to be shorter. Exactly. All of a sudden, you're going to say, okay, that's it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Go see my daughter.
They have 3 apps, and foreign-based. 2 of them, maybe 3 of them are foreign-based. They haven't opened them yet. Why wouldn't you open them when you hear about Iran or when you hear about... And the other one had 6 cell phones, and they haven't opened. Now, it's very hard to open a cell phone. Only Apple can do it in theory unless you have something. But they had no problem getting the J6 people's cell phones open. They opened their cell phones very quickly. We have 2 countries in a way. What's happening here is very good, very dangerous. We almost had one because I had the greatest economy in the history of our country, and people were coming.
I mean, it's only weird to me that he refers to them as XP. Talks in memes. Memes that he's like directly involved in. It's bizarre. But
together We almost had one, but we really do have two right now, and it's a shame because I think we'll get them together. Success will bring us together, but they should get those phones opened. And, you know, when there's a former president who's now, I'm proud to say, leading in all the polls against the Democrat, I don't know which one is running. You know, you don't know what the hell's going on. I'm the only one that had to run against two. I run against two Democrats, but this is a first. We create a lot of firsts. Usually you run against somebody. Here I run. I had the debate. I was way up on him. Yeah. And then they say, oh, let's put some. This is like with Dana White fighting. So you're fighting, and the one guy's getting. And they say, oh, that's okay. Let's put in another fighter to finish it off. And you're fighting and say, hey, wait a minute, I have a brand new fighter here.
WWE.
I spent $150 million on beating Biden. And then all of a sudden I hear that they're going to overthrow him. It was a coup. I mean, it really was. But I would like them to open up these apps and find out what's in them. And so he had six cell phones. Who has 6 cell phones? Having 6 cell phones is weird. I have cell phones. If I ever have 2, it's like a lot. Yeah. He had 6 cell phones. Why does he have them? And why haven't they opened up those cell phones? So if you had it, and it's different. You know, if you're a drug dealer, I think it's terrible in many ways, but I guess from another standpoint, Apple, the primary group, people buy those ones because they will never open them for any reason. But they got them open on J6. You know, they opened up their phones, but they don't open. And this is big stuff. This is and it could involve other countries.
There was that San Bernardino, they hacked. The FBI was able to hack into the phone. Apple didn't give it up. But
there are some people in the world, very few, that have an ability to sometimes be able to hack in.
Got it.
Very rarely, actually.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing when you think that with all the genius, you almost can't do it. But Apple has a key, and the key is open. I mean, they can do it immediately. Yeah. But they don't do it, and that's one of the reasons that, like, I hate to say it, feel very confident that they'll never be exposed. And they use their cell phones, their Apple phones, and maybe it's that way with other companies. I don't know. They have Samsung, they have other companies. But it's very hard. Apple's very strong on that. But when it comes to the president, leading candidate, former president, all that, I think the rules have to go out and they have to open those things and they have to find out. And
in terms of national security,
somebody would say you have to either punish Apple or you have to get somebody that can do it. But in terms of national security, so the one guy has 6 phones, lots of messages to people. Who are those people he's calling when he's hiding behind a bush?
So if you had to guess, I'm sure you've thought about this a lot, and if you had to guess, who do you think is responsible?
These are great questions. What the hell?
Okay, reverse glaze. Okay, he got what he wanted. Trump, dude, Trump is so good at making you feel important. He's so good at, like, on these interviews, like, you understand, he is a glad handler. No, it's not No, 100%, dude. He always does the dude. He is a con man through and through. This is con man behavior, okay? He is a con man, and he is so good after years and years of wheeling and dealing. He's so bad at business, but he's very good at just like, oh, these questions, they're so good. He did this with like Theo Vaughn too, you know? Yeah, what are we talking about? He conned a nation, dude. That's peak, okay? And he still continues to do so. I'm sorry. If you think that he is not a successful con man, I don't know what to tell you. He literally conned like tens of millions of Americans into thinking that he gives a single solitary about them when it is so obvious he does not, okay? And he's not like a particularly smart individual either.
I don't get these questions from the fake news.
Yeah. Rosie O'Donnell's been asking this.
Like Deface the Nation. They have the woman on Brennan. She's on Deface the Nation. She was terrible with you know, the way she handled. House is my Das favorite. J.D. Vance, who did a great job the other night.
He did do a great job.
But I don't get questions like that. Did you ever hear of the show? Deface, ladies and gentlemen, it's Donald Trump on Deface the Nation. It's called Face the Nation. They hate me.
Yeah, he loves his little jokes. It's called Deface. It's called Face the Nation. But you see what I did there? I call it Deface the Nation. Oh, he loves his little jokes, man. Explaining his joke.
They spend millions.
Oh God. Oh, gross. That's gross. Glaze! You did not think it's that funny. You did not think it's that funny. God damn. Have some self-respect, dude. You got some cummies in that mustache. Wipe it off, Andrew.
Oh, I see. You didn't hear it, but that's good. They spend millions of dollars on the name CBS. Yeah. And then I come along and I say it's Face the Nation.
Okay, he's still explaining it.
Domination.
Or Meet the Fake Press.
Capture and hold the objective.
You're good at
I
this.
say Meet the Fake Press.
Oh, he thinks this is genuine. Trump is reading this as genuine enthusiasm. Oh, God. This is so stupid. It's like, wow, tell me more, Mr. President.
We're staying at the worst hotel in Vegas, the Excalibur, because everything for some reason was sold out. It was literally the worst hotel in the city. So vile.
I know you're somewhat exaggerating. I have.
No, I'm not.
I've stayed in worse hotels in Vegas.
You have?
Yeah. The Flamingo. I stayed at the Flamingo once. There was literally a blood stain on the carpet in my.
Well, that's just bad luck.
Yeah. Trust me, if you go ahead on blue light or black light,
well, that's any room. That's any room in Vegas.
Well, so we were all couples. I think we were all couples except Olive, right? Or and Ian was lonesome.
Tom was by himself. There's a lot of us there.
Oh yeah, Tom was lonesome.
Yeah.
But every room, most of us were couples, and every room was 2 queen beds. Because that's, again, all there was. I don't know why. Very
I
weird.
used both beds. The first night I slept in the left, and then the second night I
One
slept
fresh?
We did too, but because our bed blanket touched the floor and I was grossed out, so we went.
That's it. The carpet was so dirty.
It was dirty,
the
bro.
bathroom was so dirty.
Yeah.
There was a weird
a smell in the
weird
room. Did you
smell.
guys smell it?
Oh yeah, definitely. But as soon as we went in the Aria, me and Tom were talking like, wow, it even smells so much better in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That place is so fucked. Like, they know they're going to ruin it, and they just stop taking care of it.
No, our room wasn't even cleaned when we got in there. There was still stuff from the previous person.
Oh, and there was that artwork we noticed
there
was
was
kind
some
of like
cursed-ass
demonic
artwork.
or something. That
You
was
guys had
so
demonic
creepy.
artwork in your room?
Yeah.
Really?
We had the same thing. It wasn't
It's up for
actually demonic.
interpretation.
We didn't have artwork
I
in
don't
ours.
think we had any artwork.
We didn't either.
Wait, you guys took a picture, right?
Yeah, I took a picture. The thing was, I didn't notice it till like right before we left because the room was so fucked up that I even noticed like the artwork.
It's some medieval Catholic shit.
And by the way, it wasn't even cheap. Like, you'd expect if you stay in a place like that, it's like $25, $50 a night. Lena, wasn't it over $300 a night?
Oh my
God.
It was
Crazy.
Yeah.
That makes it hard.
That is crazy.
Ridiculous.
I don't know why. It's Monday. I didn't expect that anyone would be
So ridiculous.
What's going on in Vegas on Monday?
Everything was also sold out, even the Flamingo.
Well, no, actually, I have a real theory. It was because of the demolition that happened.
Do you think
Oh
that's
my
why?
God. is
Because our
that
hotel was like the optimal place to stay.
We were
see it.
we were looking at hotels on the other opposite of the strip that were seemingly available, and then they were sold out. So that's why we had to move to the.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's just busy.
One of my taxi drivers said that there was 4 events going on at the same time at different
I
locations.
guess it was a busy week in Vegas, I guess.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to shout out our taxi driver, Kitty. She was a huge fan. She loves Zach. Yeah, she's very sweet.
Kitty cat, one of these for you. Rawr.
Wow.
Yeah. Wait, this was the art?
This was the art, yeah.
Literally what?
Lena started reading it. I was
I
like,
guess-
you know what? Don't finish the verse.
Yeah, he cut me off.
An incantation.
Yeah.
I think what they're going for is just the medieval.
Yeah.
We definitely didn't have anything like that.
I wish I took a picture of the other art because then it was like a palm tree. The art on the other side of the room.
Palm trees are dope.
But I mean, I don't understand the theme.
There's no theme.
What does it say? Vow that
beasts.
These beasts do.
We behold it.
Behold down.
Dave
I think
Matthew?
it's old English, so it's gonna.
But they didn't use spaces back then? What's the deal? Idiots. Show art. Well, the only art we had was that view.
Yeah,
Someone have a pic of that?
Yeah, I sent it's in the doc. It's 1A.
Me and Hila had a tremendous view. So I was about to shit my pants, so I had to rush to the room. So I got the first room.
Oh, here somebody said last time my room smelled like garbage. Yeah.
At the
They had to
Excalibur?
be moved.
Oh, I see that. Yeah, at the Excalibur.
Well, and then Ian was telling everybody when we arrived, they're like, oh, did you know that this place, Excalibur, had a
I wish he did
bed
not
bug
tell us
infestation?
that.
Okay.
I was so paranoid the whole
listen,
time.
Ian told me that at the mall. the day prior. We were just talking, and he told me that I said it in the taxi, and I think Love heard it, and then passed it to the next person, and then, yeah.
That's how it happens.
Who started it? Ian?
Well, we can't get mad at Ian. He just does
That
his
means
research.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
I mean,
That being said, it did start with Ian.
I just shared it with AB, and then he's telling our taxi driver. I don't know why you're telling the taxi driver.
So the taxi driver was talking about the
Love told me. Love told me.
No, it was
I made a
Lena.
joke.
No, it's
to you.
Love. Love fessed up to it.
No, we were walking together and I made a joke. It's like, oh yeah, we might also win some bed bugs on here too.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
Well, it was also Lena who told us.
I told you in the taxi,
Okay,
and you're like, why would you tell me that? I'm like,
Okay,
because Ian did it to me.
Okay. That's what happened.
As a
Did you end
person
up
who unpacks very often, I thought it was important information.
Definitely.
Right.
So
He's a hotel
did you
unpacker.
unpack Ian?
No.
Yeah, okay, good.
He broke
Good for you.
protocol.
Yeah, not this.
Well, if you keep it all in the back, if you keep it in the suitcase, the bed bugs are just gonna find like a nice nest there. Probably better off hanging it.
I just slept in the hall.
No,
Probably cleaner.
Yeah.
I swear to God, when we went to the Aria, I'm like, I kind of just want to sleep in the lobby here. It'd be cleaner and safer.
It was really sad. It was really disgusting.
I felt really bad for you, Ethan. Thank you guys for taking us on that trip, but I felt so bad that you paid for everyone. We were all having the time of our lives, and you were just miserable alone in that room.
And the Excalibur.
Listen, it's fun. I'm glad everyone had fun.
I thought the Excalibur was cool. I felt very immersed in the, 12th century sort of European vibes. I felt like I was a peasant. I felt like I was living in squalor.
As soon as you said that to me, everything was different.
Yeah, it was part of the ambiance, you know what I mean?
To be honest, I did like the kind of seedy, unpretentious casino floor. However, the room was without a doubt probably the worst room I've ever stayed in my life. Probably.
Yeah.
And also there was like one roulette wheel. Like the casino was doo-doo.
Yeah, it was kind of...
Even our dealer didn't really know what he was doing.
We started playing blackjack.
Yeah.
That dude, it was like his first day dealing. Like the pit boss was behind him, and she kept rolling her eyes at him.
She kept telling him how to count the money, and he kept doing it the same way. He'd take the money and just spread it all across the table.
First day.
Listen, get a load of this. He goes, so he gives me my chips, and then there's just a $20 bill on the table. And he goes, and he calls the pit boss back. And he's like, I had 20 left over. What do I do? And she goes, well, I think it was probably you forgot to put it in the money thing. And I was like, are you sure about that?
Oh, no.
Because I think it was my money. Like, why the fuck should I default to the casino ticket? I said, you're going to end up with it anyway. Yeah. I was right about that, by the way. Yeah. So she gave it to me, but I'm like, yeah, nice try, lady. Leaving money out. Like, oh, no, it's ours. Oh, no, bitch. Look at this case then. That one is mine.
That girl that also deals in blackjack, she forgot to deal 2 moving turns. Like, she didn't get a card and she had to like move, from her brain, just had to move every card back 1 step.
Who was that, the Russian girl?
Yeah.
The dealers there, by the way, are the lowest fucking on the run. Like, everything there is just shit. It's awesome.
They were nice though.
They were nice. They were nice as could be.
It was a good time. I lost all my money.
I never realized
I lost a lot of money.
what a difference it makes not having a fridge in your room.
I know.
That was...
I'm on the protein kick, and then I saw there was like a snack bar right by the elevators, and I stocked up on protein stuff, yogurt, but everything near the fridge, and I didn't realize.
Do you think they have room service? I was like, they barely have room.
Me and Dan were looking for water at like 3 a.m. and we finally found it at Fat Burger.
That was the only thing.
Nothing open at 3 a.m. It was $6 for water.
There was a Fat Burger in there.
I want to defend them. I found water in the gift shop right by our room.
We must have missed it.
Yeah, I got water there too. But hey, I got this hat there. Everybody's asking about the hat.
Yeehaw. Wrong era, though. Why are they selling cowboy hats at Excalibur?
Yeah, I don't know, but I felt like being a cowboy person made sense in Vegas for some reason.
It definitely does.
Is there a connection?
No.
No.
Just like in terms of feeling, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Poker, I feel like it's a little bit fucking
It's a cowboy sport.
Yeah.
So something is
Poker's
connecting.
a little cowboy. Goes all the way back.
Oh, does it? Yeah.
You used to play poker on the frontier.
No way.
Lots of people got nice view of the pool. I thought
not everybody.
this was loved. I thought it was nice. Yeah, that was nice. I love it. Here's Nate. But hold on, because I was like, well, that one's kind of nice. There's a tree. There's a tree. That was our view right there.
Yeah.
So
really pretty.
Kitty told us that homeless people stay up there all the time.
Not surprised by that. Rare. Kitty cat. Yeah, Dan reminds us. This was Dan's view.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Pretend we're peasants when you got that fucking King's hookup. Actually, a decent pool area though, considering how shit the hotel is. I didn't go down there.
Again, I'm not going to defend that Scotland too much, but there's definitely sleepier hotels on the strip. Circus, a lot of people have pointed out, and I stayed there once for like a conference or something.
Far away, I feel like.
It counts. Yeah, no, that's not part of the strip.
Okay.
And yeah, that one is
Circus.
Yeah,
But that one, it's like, isn't that the one that's like haunted? Like, isn't that the whole pool of it?
oh, I don't know.
There's one of those clown hotels.
Yeah, this is what the fuck is this? Damn.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, the good thing I noticed is that the window wasn't. You could open it, so I could jump if I needed to, which is rare at hotels.
That's good.
Yeah, they got those sealed up.
It was so weird. It was like one of those hotels, like, you die in, and you're like hunting it, but you don't know you're dead. That was the vibe.
Like The Shining?
Wait, that's what happened in The Shining? When did that happen in The Shining? He wasn't dead.
At the end.
He's always been dead.
He was a ghost all along.
But then why was his wife in it?
No, he wasn't. Well, okay, yeah, he wasn't a ghost all along.
Yeah, he wasn't a ghost all along. He just knew about this.
You think about the Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what did it explain later?
He died. He died as he died.
He freezes to death.
Yeah.
What about the picture at the end? It said like
It's sort of- it's-
overlooked hotel 19.
But his kids and wife were there. They went there with him.
Then what about the picture?
I don't fucking know.
I don't remember. He was a ghost like all along.
I think he just got added to the spiritual bank.
He was absorbed into the energy of the hotel.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different theories about the ending.
What people have said about the spoilers?
Sorry about that.
I feel like this is kind of a spoiler alert.
Yeah, I mean, God forbid. Shining year of
People have only had like 60 years to.
1980,
Oh my god.
1980.
Spoilers.
I'll have to admit that I show speed. I was cracking the fuck up with his reaction. You gotta send that. It's not interesting.
I don't have to admit anything. I Show Speed is extremely funny. I am willing to say that.
I don't know what's the bad, whatever like stuff he's apparently done bad. I don't know because I don't follow that person. But he's very young, and I've seen he's very funny. He's very talented. He's extremely physically talented.
Ridiculously so.
He was like a gymnast, a really good soccer player, and he's really, really an interesting. Frankly, I've seen clips of him where he's being really, I think, handling himself fairly well for a young celebrity too.
Seems to be getting better. He was definitely obnoxious in the beginning.
He had that one "Who's Gonna Stop Me" clip, right?
Yeah, that's going to follow him forever, and that is so funny. But he was like on Omegle or something, and some he was like, if we were the last two people on Earth, would you hook up with me or something? And she was like, hell no. And he was like, who's gonna stop me? In like a really intense way, and I was like, yeah. So that's a big yikes. But I don't know. I think he was like 15 or 16 at the time. And just hopefully he has matured past that. I don't watch his content regularly. I'll see clips of him pretty frequently that crack me the fuck up. I don't know.
I guess he's friends with KSI. I honestly don't even know if this is real because I didn't look into it, but apparently KSI's on the call watching him react.
From the screen, to the pen, to the king. Where's my crown? That's my bling. Always strong when I ring. I see it in my heart. His soul. Yes, I'm singing your nature. Soul. From the screen, to the pen, to the king.
Oh, that was funny, man. I hate to say that was just cracking me up. He's getting absolutely skewered for the song, though.
Speedy reaction, is him reacting to Instagram, where he thinks that he's telling, was it Drake's son to like end his life?
Oh yeah, he misunderstands it.
Jesus.
This is
He's telling
I haven't seen that.
Let's watch that.
Oh my god, that shit is so fun.
Yeah, that'd be a problem. Certainly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really funny. He definitely got it ended.
He's a really talented young man, I'll say that.
Hardpoint compromised.
From what I've
Secure
seen.
the area.
Oh, this is real.
Yeah.
Oh shit, this really happened. What a fucking legend.
He not see chat, he not picking up,
He's
bro.
calling KSI.
See chat, he not picking up. Picking up, bro.
I can't believe this is real. This is
JJKSI, my boy, what's good?
Reload. I cannot believe this. This is amazing.
I wanted to call you, right? 'Cause look, I've been seeing look, I've been seeing all the people who've been like, you know, like reacting to your songs and shit, bro. Like, and look, you know me. Like, bro, like they been clowning me. So look, this is what we gonna do, all right, bro? I'm gonna react to the song while you on the phone call, all right, bro?
Change your max. Secure the area.
Nah, and look, honestly, good, bro.
I mean, the last time he reacted, you turned it off after 2 seconds.
I know, but I'm not gonna do that this time. I'm gonna give it like a real full honest review. I reacted to it earlier myself.
I'm actually gonna be wasting my time.
No, bro. I'm gonna give it like a full, like I'm not gonna be trolling none of that. Like I'm about to give this like a real review, bro. So look, all right, bet.
Cool.
Okay, let me go on YouTube. Let's search up. What is it? Sick of it? Think of it? Okay, think of it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, look, I'm on your side, bro. You know, me and you go way back. I'm about to give you a, like, bro, just chill, bro.
Do the 18, how far back can you go?
Bro, I'm not, bro. All right, bet, bro. You ready, ma'am?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's do this, bro.
All right, chat. Let's hear a song, bro. Let's hear it, man. Let's do it. KSI song without, you know, hey, chat, like real. Like real.
KSI is really setting himself up for a death shot. Look at his face. Look at KSI. It's almost like a meme reaction. This is like
okay, KSI. All right, KSI.
He's actually convincing.
I've heard worse songs. I'm going to be 100. And I'm not, whatever's KSS, who cares, but still. Yo, my feelings would be kind of hurt.
Holy fuck, dude. Holy shit. I can't tell. So, is KSI angry or is he like, I got? He, the face, the smile goes off. He bails. God, I gotta say, once again, he sold that so good. He did amazing.
Question recon flyover.
This shit is so ass. Turn that trash. that goddamn song.
Dude.
Oh my god.
Holy fuck, man. That is so.
Wait, says song. Sound. Sick of that goddamn sound. Oh, I love you.
So damn fun.
By the way, that Prime that actually Steve brought up, that's actually his brand or flavor of Prime. Yeah, his own flavor.
Yeah, he's in deep with Prime.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, somebody was like, Case, I was so happy you finally found someone that liked this song.
I was happy before I started this show. I was happy before I started this show. That's what we were fighting about earlier. Like, you don't pay attention. We're fighting because
whatever at this point, because like I've tried to save you at this point. I can't do it. You're always going to be what you're always going to be. I'm done.
Say my name.
Breaking Banquet.
You're goddamn right.
Wait, Wings, you have more than Wings. Why'd you say you had 3 hours?
Because when you told me yesterday, I had already, like, I wake up at 3 in the afternoon right now. So, like, I'm up at, like, 1 or 2 in the morning. You're not going to call or talk to anybody at that time. And when I go into bed, like, 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, sleep until 3, that gives me, like, 3 or 4 hours to actually do something.
But I texted you guys last night, I think at, like, what, 9? And I was like, hey, Saturday is not going to work. I forgot I have plans. Can you guys go through a haunted house tomorrow?
Yeah, this is another thing. You got to stop making plans based on our time as well. Like, what if I have plans?
What plans?
I had plans. I was supposed to go to Beyond Van Gogh with Kelly tonight, and we put that off to do this. I spent $130 on equipment I couldn't use. We're not actually creating any long tail. Like, nobody's gonna watch it again in a year.
Like, we got to make content for them.
Yes, exactly. I understand that, but like, if we just did this in a video form and had it edited and put that would be better product than just us like working through audio issues, watching somebody walk through a haunted house.
Why aren't you doing that on your own channel then?
Because I want to coast. That's what I was doing before I started Local Live.
But I think that's the best method for your career or whatever. Why don't you just go do it?
You're asking me this, and I'm telling you just something that's going to be counterproductive because, like, I was at the end of my career writing what little thing I had left out before I left the internet. And then Local came along. Like, I was trying to get away from the trolls.
So you think we should do less work? That's going to help the show.
We did the Jake Doherty thing the other night, or whatever his name is. The 20-year-old kid that crashed his car. We decided to rehash that to my troll content.
You have to build a fan base, which we have done. Thank you guys so much, right?
When we do these things, we need at least a week before every project.
For what?
We do. Where's your at? Why aren't you at Haunted House right now?
I could have, if I wanted to.
I didn't want to. You think I want to go to a haunted house? I've literally got a gallbladder that's failing me right now, and you want me to walk around in a haunted house and get scared? Well, I tried. Like I said, I tried.
Do you think you can get it figured out in a week? Can we do it next Friday?
It's gonna be lame. I'm not gonna be able to top what you just did.
Wings, your negative attitude is like rubbing off on me. Like, it's just like,
I could have done what you did tonight. Just sit here like, oh, that's the greatest haunted house in the world. Let me do this. Let me be the host. You go do the haunted house shit. You go and harass people outside. I don't want to do that.
And then what? And then what? Let's say
that's it. That's it.
Wings, no one cares long as you do it. People respect the effort.
Exactly, man. I would have loved to see you go through anything tonight.
I feel like you rush everything gets rushed through, just like the Harris rally and everything else. Like, you need time to prepare these things.
They like the effort. They like to see us try.
Don't need overproduced would ruin the show.
Like, my wife has a full-time job. Like, she just can't get off and take off at any time. Like I've said before, if they want to pay me out, they can have it at any point.
I don't want to pay you out. I want you Why didn't you go to the Van Gogh thing and film that for us? I would have loved to see that. I love Van Gogh.
You mentioned it in the chat, and I said it would be funny. That was my response.
You said the chat would turn on me. So I went, like I said, I went to this Dr. Scream thing, which is like at the Tompkins farm.
Here's what's going on. This is what's truly going on. It's not all these other...
Move to the hard point.
Flush incoming! I'm so tired of this man. And I know you are too. It's already been a very Elon-heavy week. Elon! There's unfortunately even more Elon news to discuss. Thankfully, though, it's mostly news about him once again publicly embarrassing himself and subsequently losing a bunch of money. After an entire decade of hype, this week Tesla finally unveiled their plans for autonomous, driverless taxis. And while Elon's legion of fanboys, of course, hailed this as yet another masterful gambit for their hero, it's at least refreshing that Tesla's investors did not see it that way and voted with their wallets as soon as trading began Friday morning. Unfortunately, though, in terms of content, this week's Pure Tesla event was not as viscerally cringe-inducing as previous events, like the Cybertruck one, where there was one moment that I would say parallels it in some ways, but it is still pretty funny how blatantly full of lies and lacking in actual substance the whole thing was.
So Tesla's MWIII robot event, it was held at Warner Brothers Studios on the part of their backlot that's used in a lot of movies that was stand-in for New York City. And this was honestly a pretty appropriate location choice given how things played out. This was not a tech demo. It was an unveiling of a concept. Concepts of an idea.
Concepts of a plan, yeah.
And we have no way of confirming this, but we'd bet that most, if not all, of the autonomy on display was actually technicians backstage with VR headsets and Xbox controllers. And even if it wasn't, it was a heavily controlled area that they've been testing on for at least a month, based on what people have been posting online around Warner Brothers and the buildings nearby.
Made it real hard to book studio space.
I need that backlot. They've been testing this for a long time, and honestly, it wouldn't take much with the way that autonomous vehicles currently work.
Yeah, this is 10 years ago, this would have been kind of a very impressive demo, but we've seen all this.
Yeah. Anyways, for starters, Elon showed off the steering wheel and pedal-free Cybercab, which isn't hideous, but looks like your average 22-year-old automotive design major's final product, complete with gull-wing doors and stupidly large hubcaps.
Although, upon closer inspection, those stupidly large hubcaps actually are partially just silver paint on tires.
Yes, and I always, look, this is just a personal preference, but I always hate the way that those big, large hubcaps look. Now, where it really gets stupid is when Elon starts talking about the thing.
So yeah, Elon claims that a Cybercab will cost less than $30,000, which,
Nope.
Sorry, shut up. No, it fucking won't.
No.
Not possible.
Lying.
Have you seen how much cars cost these days?
Prove us wrong.
Come on. And Elon says that they'll be producing these things within 2 years, which again, doubt, not gonna happen. Nope. And yeah, the reason for a price reveal like this is that, according to Elon, you'll be able to buy your own fleet of these things if you want, and you can use them to generate passive income, like some sort of road landlord.
What? No one will insure these if you're gonna own a fleet of taxis.
They will. Because if they don't, they'll have to tell it to Earth.
Like 2 weeks ago, Geico said they weren't even insuring the Cybertruck.
Well, there's mixed messages on that. Geico says they don't have... Basically, what it sounds like Geico does not have an official policy of not insuring Cybertrucks. They just seem to be routinely canceling policies on Cybertrucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could own your own fleet of robo-taxis. Very cool idea until you spend like 5 seconds thinking about the regulatory and liability aspects of it all. And we'll talk more about that in a bit, because it seems to be a just huge blind spot for Elon's fans, and something that Elon himself is going out of his way to not even acknowledge, including with his claims that Tesla Model 3s and Model Ys will have full, unsupervised autonomy in California and Texas next year.
It's always next year.
It's always next year. And that's not something you can just say is happening. There are a lot of steps outside of your control that have to happen before that happens. And based on everything we've seen so far with how the government has reacted to Tesla's innovations, it's not happening. I'm sorry.
Before we even get too far down the rabbit hole, he is going to blame every misstep that going forward with Tesla on Kamala Harris. Or if it's the Trump administration, he's going to blame it on the previous administration. And there is, for the love of God, a very consistent track record of him just fucking lying about this.
Yeah.
People gave us shit about the Cybertruck video when we made the Cybertruck video. And look how late that showed up and how many concessions they had to make. And it's still ugly, and I want it off the road.
Vindicated!
Yeah, it's, guys, you gotta stop believing him. He's just fucking blowing smoke. He's a snake oil salesman at this point.
At this point, it's only the real, like, Kool-Aid drinkers who are taking this stuff hook, line, and sinker. It seems everyone else is like, okay, well, what else you got?
Yeah, and we're gonna get into some more of his smoke and mirrors. But another fun claim presented with zero evidence is that these things won't charge via a charging cable, but will instead use inductive charging like a giant cell phone on a giant charging mat. So far, we're at least in the territory of the plausible, but then Elon brings out a surprise. The Robovan, which Elon inexplicably pronounces Robovin.
Robovin. Oh, just rolls off the tongue.
It sounds like a medication that a grandparent takes.
Ask your doctor if Robovin is right for you.
That's what I'm saying.
Robovin may cause death.
Yeah. So, like the Cybertruck, this is clearly a design that Elon himself doodled onto a napkin because it looks ridiculous and not in a good way. It looks like an Art Deco toaster. It's also got what looks like maybe 4 inches of ground clearance. Well, who would win? The Cyber Toaster or a slight incline, a dip?
The smallest road dip you've ever seen in your life.
A speed bump, a speed hump, a pothole,
a driveway,
just
an on-ramp. Just any slight grade change.
Also, this looks eerily similar to modern ski gondolas, but with wheels on the bottom.
Secure the area.
I like skiing.
But that's the thing, is it's just like, it's just a little basket rolling down the road.
Yeah.
The Robovin. It's so stupid. The Robovan is what you hail when instead of 2 seats, you need 20 seats. And getting back to the Robotaxi, 2 seats? Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, very bizarre choice. Like, when I'm using public, or not public, but I'm using like an Uber or a Lyft, it is often with more than 2 people.
Yeah, it's very strange to not just include at least 4 seats. It is a very bizarre choice, especially when you're doing away with like the entire instrument panel, and for some reason just putting a huge trunk in it with like, okay, why does it need a huge trunk? There's only 2 people.
Well, this isn't real, so
yeah,
we're scrutinizing this way too.
Yeah, this is like making fun of the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's like you see it and you're like, oh, that's not for me.
It's not real. It can't affect your life.
It can't hurt you. So like with the Boring Company, Elon has once again just invented mass transit, but
we're calling it mass transit. But yeah, it sucks.
And also like the Boring Company, this Robovan is never going to be more than a demo. And if it is, like, just, it's going to be, if it ever exists, in a geo-fenced area that they have to, like, maintain. Because the smallest problem that you would face on any road will take this thing out. And I'm not talking about hitting other vehicles or the actions of other drivers. Because Waymo exists, it's doing okay. I'm talking about a fucking pothole. Or road debris.
The Robovin is only the greatest pinnacle of success it can achieve is transporting people from like one side of a airport to another, or a convention center, much like the Boring Company.
It's an airport like monorail system
without the rails.
And I don't know if we get into it, but like the idea that anyone that would want to afford to take a ride in this thing would want to sit with other people and also reroute themselves from their direct location is insane, because that's what they can do right now with public transportation.
Well, he's not pitching this as you riding with strangers, because that's disgusting. He said, this will be great for sports teams.
Stupid, dumb. Also, this is gonna, if anything, this would be a glorified bachelor party bus.
Yeah.
Which they already don't have to drive. And people are just going to ruin it because there's no one to monitor.
Or a bang bus.
Yeah, it's the fake robotaxi. So yes, so it doesn't matter what we say anyway, because not happening.
No.
Cybercab is at least somewhat plausible. Not on the timeline that he's suggesting it is.
But just the existence of a cab, that exists. We've seen that already.
Waymo exists. I saw someone pull the stats that was like, currently because Tesla's used visual only, cameras only, and it's like
it's great if it doesn't rain, snow, or get fogged up.
In like best case scenarios, has like a 70-mile range without a critical interaction with a human driver, whereas the Waymo can go something like tens of thousands of miles without an issue.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but like they've put in the work. They've played it safe with it. And the failure rate of Waymo compared to everything Tesla has showed so far is night and day.
It's a bizarre, weird swing for the fences that is almost certainly and hasn't so far worked out.
Yeah. But the Revolvin, it's just some chum for the fans. Oh my god. Look how futuristic in a bus. But in the same vein, Elon closed out the event by bringing out a bunch of his Optimus robots and continuing to claim that these things will cost $20,000 and will do all of your chores, babysit your kids, and he said this, be your friend.
Don't worry, guys. I'm looking out for you. I know how tough it is.
I know how lonely it is being an Elon Musk fan.
It's gonna be even lonelier when one of these things accidentally crushes your baby's skull.
Yeah. And listen, you could say, all the videos of this are clearly CGI and not real. But he even had a few of these things working as extremely slow bartenders at the after party. So checkmate. He's definitely very much impressed a bunch of people who were willfully unaware that these robot bartenders were definitely, I will put money on this, 100% being controlled by humans backstage with VR headsets and hand tracking.
First of all,
not autonomous.
Multiple people have already come out and said that they were being controlled. First of all, let's clarify. The ones that were dancing and doing all that, probably pre-programmed and completely autonomous. The ones that were talking to people, let me tell you a story. When I was a child, a little, very young boy, I went down to the county fair, and they had a robot that would interact with you down at the county fair, and it had a happy little face, and it would talk to you. You know what was happening? There was a guy in a booth, like 150 feet away, driving this thing and talking to people, and that was 30 years ago.
But it
felt really great as a child. This, what was showed off on the Warburg backlot, was essentially what Disneyland has been doing already
it's
for
like
years.
Going into the Hall of Presidents.
No, it's even worse. It's like going to the Star Wars land and they have a guy that has a controller and a backpack that's sitting there controlling fucking R2-D2 and little bots.
Yeah.
But there were handlers around. It was clearly being operated by someone else. Now the argument that they're making is that, well, it's a hardware demo, and it's like, okay, great robots.
It's not a hardware demo. Like, that's the thing.
But he's not even being honest about that.
Yeah. So if the pitch, because it is impressive that you can now make a humanoid robot that does respond one-to-one with the person controlling it. Like, if they were pitching this as you use this in dangerous places, like working with hazardous materials, rescue operations, a way for people to go somewhere without actually being there, I'm like, that's pretty cool. But he's not marketing that. He's marketing this as your own personal fucking Star Wars robot.
Yes.
Which is not going to fucking happen.
And then apparently it's
especially not at $20,000.
Going to change your kids' diapers or watch them or whatever. And when it's really going to be someone being paid like 10 cents an hour to sit, like the people that have already been acting as AI chatbots because it can't be trusted.
It would be funny if he does brute force this to market and just to save face, and the robots are still all just being controlled by like Tesla engineers, or let's be real, controlled by people in like the Philippines or Africa.
That's what I made like $3 an hour.
Yes, but like the people who own them think that they have an AI robot.
Yeah, my AI. It's literally Osimo from South Park. It's just Cartman in a box. That's all it is.
Anyways, take away all the vague, unbelievable promises, and this event was something that just about any large car or electronics company could have put together in a couple months with off-the-shelf parts. And while our cynical take on all this won't surprise anyone, what was kind of surprising was how investors reacted, with Tesla stock closing at nearly 9% down at the end of trading on Friday. And adding insult to injury, Uber and Lyft stocks were up about 10%.
The entire stock market was up.
No need to worry.
It just compared to the S&P 500, it's very obvious. Like it's one of the funniest things I saw was like when they had the robot bartenders. Someone was like, pretty impressive. And this one didn't swing an iPad around and ask for a tip. And he goes, and then he adds, I just bought $10 million more worth of Tesla stock. And it's like, if that were true, which it's not, you're fucking lying on the internet.
That means
$800,000 in a day, or $900,000 in a day.
And if that were true, that means billions of dollars were pulled out of Tesla to counteract your $10 million. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Here's Yahoo Finance with more on the stock stuff. A lack of detail disappointed Tesla bulls like Adam Jonas of Morgan Stanley as well. Heading into what might arguably have been the most highly anticipated product unveil in Tesla's history, we had a number of expectations of what the market might learn that we felt were consequential to the direction and debate around the stock. Jonas wrote in his clients Friday morning. We were overall disappointed with the substance and detail of the presentation. Specifically with the Cybercab, there was no detailed discussion of technology aspects like sensors, range, safety features, and configuration, seating, for example, Jonas said. Furthermore, like Saganagi, Jonas pointed out a lack of detail regarding improvements to FSD, a detailed rollout plan for robotaxis to consumers, and financial analysis, among other things.
And yeah, the vibe is very funny. It seems all the big investors are just like, all we want one thing, Elon. We want a car that costs $25,000 to $30,000 that people can buy. Just a shitty Tesla that has mass market appeal. Can you please do that? And Elon's like, no, I will do literally everything but that.
That's not the future.
I could do anything for my investors, but I won't do that. Anyway, here's Reuters. Tesla is aiming to leapfrog incumbent self-driving players, including Alphabet's Waymo, by pursuing a lower-cost technological path that Musk believes will allow the company to scale up its autonomous vehicles far quicker than rivals. Tesla's strategy is simpler and much cheaper than that of its rivals, but has critical weaknesses. Chief among those is that the AI technology underpinning its self-driving system makes it nearly impossible to pinpoint why a crash or other failure occurred, something that could concern regulators. Tesla software is at least years behind where Waymo is. That's the hard part. No flashy vehicle design is going to change that, said Matthew Wansley, professor at New York's Cardozo School of Law. Tesla's rivals use similar AI and camera technology, but layer on so-called redundant systems and more expensive sensors as a safety precaution.
And yeah, Waymo has been doing this shit for nearly a decade, gradually ramping up what they're capable of and what they're even allowed to do with better vehicles. And their cars are still geofenced to specific areas with no highway driving. The idea that Tesla will be able to catch up to them in a couple of years isn't just absurd on a technical level, it also completely ignores the regulatory aspect, where the NHTSA and state DMVs have to give you permission to operate on public roads after being convinced that what you're doing is safe. Add to that the idea that, unlike with Waymo, these robotaxis will be privately owned and operated, which is brand new legal territory with rules that haven't even begun to be written. The fact that on top of the few vague claims Elon made, the regulatory aspect wasn't even mentioned is definitely weird. But then you remember that Elon Musk is currently pumping a shitload of money into Trump and other Republican candidates, and it starts to make a little bit more sense. Because dismantling the regulatory state is one of the GOP's primary goals. No NHTSA, no problem.
Yeah.
These deaf machines will be on the road in no time.
Yeah, the current Joe Biden NHTSA would never allow this to happen. But the Trump non-existent NHTSA that just rubber stamps anything that Elon Musk, investor in the Republican Party, put on their desk, well, they'll let it happen.
We could have all
I assume no liability because these are your cars and not mine.
Yeah.
I just sold them to you. Anything they do out there on the road, that's your fault.
You probably messed with them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, you think the AI images of people being rescued from hurricanes are impressive? Wait till you see these cyber robots out there rescuing people.
Just shoving them underwater.
Yeah.
But speaking of Musk being fully in the tank for Trump, the New York Times put out a piece on Friday digging into just how unprecedented this all is. In the final weeks of the presidential campaign, the richest man in the world has involved himself in the U.S. election in a manner unparalleled in modern history. Elon Musk, seen over the weekend jumping for joy alongside former President Donald J. Trump at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, is now talking to the Republican candidate multiple times a week. He has effectively moved his base of operations to Pennsylvania, the place that he has recently told confidants he believes is the linchpin to Mr. Trump's reelection. He has relentlessly promoted Mr. Trump's candidacy to his 201 million followers on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, that he bought for $44 billion, and has used to spread conspiracy theories about the Democratic Party and to insult its candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris. Above all, he is personally steering the actions of a super PAC that he has funded with tens of millions of dollars to turn out the vote for Mr. Trump, not just in Pennsylvania, but across the country. He has even proposed taking a campaign bus tour across Pennsylvania and knocking on doors himself, in part to see how his money is being used.
Get the fuck off my property.
Please do this.
Hello.
I wanted to
He is not good.
69.
And not exactly his fault, obviously, but he's just not good talking to people. So this is a plan that's just not going to work. In fact, he was very awkward on that stage. And even in, like...
I'm done.
I'm talking about the stage at the cyber event.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, buddy, like, it's so weird. I mean, listen, I talk for a living, so I'm obviously biased here, but, like, if I'm putting on a, like, career-defining event, supposedly, I'm running through that script a couple times. I'm not just, like, getting up there to riff.
And also, you would assume that, like, you would have someone hyping up the crowd more or miking the crowd better and not having awkward silences.
Just play stock techno music.
It's bizarre. It goes out without saying that, looking back, it's utterly ridiculous how much Elon used to complain about big tech and social media platforms being in the tank for Democrats and how unethical that was, considering how far above and beyond he's gone to not only personally support and promote Trump, but also mold an entire social network in its image. The Times report also confirms that the recent suspension of journalist Ken Klippenstein was done directly at the request of the Trump campaign.
Yeah, which, like, this is obviously, it parallels the Hunter Biden laptop stuff way back then, where it's like, you're doing the exact same thing in reverse. So all of your complaints back then was not about principles. It was just about the actual content of the leaks. Yeah, it's stupid. Anyway, he's back though. They gave him his after the New York Times published this, and people were like, "Wait, you suspended a journalist because the Trump campaign called you up and said to do it?" I guess they finally were like, "All right, we should let this guy back
pretty
up."
bad. The one possible silver lining to all this, though, is that Elon understands politics about as well as he understands social media. And if Elon is running his political operation the way he's running Twitter, he's blowing a ton of money on something that's going to fail.
Yeah, the more he gets involved with Trump, the more I'm just like, I mean, this is based purely on vibes, but I'm like, everything this guy touches turns to shit, and he's been wrong about literally everything for the past, like, several years. So, I don't know. It indicates to me that Trump's going to lose. Yeah. I mean, more than if it indicates anything, that's what it indicates to me.
There you go. And he's wasting a bunch of money in the process.
Yeah, we love it. In related news, we recently talked about how Cards Against Humanity sued SpaceX for damaging and polluting land that they bought with fan donations back in 2017 along the Texas border. We also recently talked about Elon's Political Action Committee offering $47 to people who get swing state voters to sign some petition saying they love the First and Second Amendment.
It's just so obvious what he's doing.
Well, now these two stories have collided, and this feud between Elon Musk and the party game that he surely thinks he is really good at has now escalated further. Here's NBC News. The company behind the game Cards Against Humanity is aiming to one-up Elon Musk with its plan to pay blue-leaning swing state residents who make voting plans and agree to publicly condemn Donald Trump. The company announced an initiative Tuesday to encourage people who didn't vote in 2020 to go to the polls this year by handing out up to $100. That's way more than 47.
On a website created by the game company, eligible voters are asked to provide their personal information, which is then checked against voter data that the company said they bought from a data broker. You wouldn't believe how easy it was for us to get this stuff, the website said. If eligible voters didn't vote in 2020, Cards Against Humanity offers them a payout, provided they write apologies for not having voted 4 years ago, creating voting plans, and publicly posting, "Donald Trump is a human toilet." If the voters lean blue and live in swing states, they can earn more money. According to the website, over 1,700 eligible voters have already participated.
So yeah, a little taste of his own medicine. And yeah, $100 is way more than 47. So Elon,
more than twice.
Elon, I think you might need to spend even more of your money.
Oh, drat! $69 wouldn't even be enough.
Yeah, and it is a pretty clever one because, like, it is publicly available information whether you voted in a certain election. So yeah, if you didn't vote in 2020, this is a great opportunity for you.
Elon didn't vote.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe he can make $100 to offset some of those the millions that he's spending.
Yes.
But anyway, just one more bit of politics before we move on to the other news. The election is just a couple weeks away at this point, and it is worth pointing out what is actually at stake here. Trump advanced do not believe in democracy. They've done a pretty good job distracting everyone from the basic fact that Trump literally tried to steal the 2020 election, and to this day does not admit that he lost. and they're not confronted about this directly nearly as often as they should be. So it was refreshing that this week JD Vance was asked a very simple question and had a real hard time providing an answer. Here you go.
In the debate, you were asked to clarify if you believe Trump lost the 2020 election. Do you believe he lost the 2020 election?
I think that Donald Trump and I have both raised a number of issues with the 2020 election, but we're focused on the future. I think there's an obsession here with focusing on 2020. I'm much more worried about what happened after 2020, which is a wide open border, groceries that are unaffordable. And look,
Senator, yes or no? Okay. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Let me ask you a question. Is it okay that big technology companies censored the Hunter Biden laptop story, which independent analysis have said cost Donald Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
Did big technology companies censor a story that independent studies have suggested will cost Trump millions of votes?
Senator Vance, I'm going to ask you again. Did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
And I've answered your question with another question. You answer my question and I'll answer yours.
I have asked this question repeatedly. It is something that is very important for the American people to know. There is no proof, legal or otherwise, that Donald Trump did not lose the 2020 election.
You're repeating a slogan rather than engaging with what I'm saying, which is that when our own technology firms engage in industrial scale censorship, by the way, backed up by the federal government, in a way that independent studies suggest affect the votes, I'm worried about Americans who feel like there are problems in 2020. I'm not worried about the slogan people throw. Well, every court case went this way. I'm talking about something very discreet. A problem of censorship in this country that I do think affected things in 2020, and more importantly, that led to Kamala Harris's arguments, which has screwed this country up in a big way.
Senator, would you have certified the election in 2020? Yes or no?
I've said that I will vote against certification because of the concern that I just raised. I think that when you have a technology company...
The answer is no.
When you have technology companies censoring Americans at a mass scale in a way that, again, independent studies have suggested affect the vote, I think that it's right to protest against that, to criticize that, and that's a totally reasonable thing.
So the answer is no.
Yeah, they always squirm.
Actually, I have a question for you. No, this is an interview. Yeah, it's a yes or no question. Very simple. What are you doing?
It's very obvious every time any kind of either January 6th or stolen election stuff comes up, because every Republican seems to dance around it unless they're complete sycophants.
Well, let me ask you a question about Facebook censoring. That's the real issue here, is the censorship on social media.
Sir, I'd like to remind you that Donald Trump was president in 2020. When you're claiming that everything was being censored.
It's so funny, but yeah, this one was good. And every once in a while you see good examples of like political journalism in this country that makes you realize how fucking shitty so much of the rest of it is.
Yeah.
Where it really does just come down to
asking questions and demanding the answers to those questions.
A few basic questions.
Or just
about
follow-up
stuff like this and abortion, and you say you want to get rid of all these immigrants. What would that actually look like? Walk us through that. It's really basic shit. They've done a great job avoiding, and the media class has really been accommodating for it.
Well, maybe we'll talk about it Monday, because Trump's been on a real tear this weekend on Truth Social about what those plans might actually look like, and guys, it's fascism.
It is.
It really is. Just say what it is. You shouldn't be scared to say it, even though people will think you're crazy for some reason, because that's also their plan, is to make anyone that says it sound crazy.
Yeah. I'm reading a book right now. I'm reading a book right now called The Anatomy of Fascism. It came out several years ago, before all this, and it is fascinating. You're going through just the rise of the fascists in Italy and the Nazis in Germany. I'm like, there's a lot of interesting sort of parallels to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But that's it for politics. Or at least there's more in the headlines, sorry. But that's it for human politics for now, because it is time now for an update to last week's top story from the world of bear politics.
Very violent politics.
This year's Fat Bear Week, in which voters decide which bear at a national park in Alaska put on the most weight while preparing for hibernation, kicked off in the wake of some pretty serious scandal.
Yeah.
One of the competition's long-running fan favorites was killed by another bear, live on camera, just days before Fat Bear Week was set to begin. This was shocking news for Fat Bear Week fans, but the show must go on. And it turns out bear-on-bear murder was a recurring theme this year. Here's the Associated Press.
In a storyline better befitting a melodrama than a popularity vote, Grazer won her second Fat Bear contest Tuesday by defeating the male behemoth that killed her cub this summer. Grazer beat Chunk by more than 40,000 votes cast by fans watching live cameras at explore.org of Alaska's Katmai National Park and Preserve. Fans cast votes online for their favorite chunky competitor in tournament-style brackets that begins with 12 bears. They picked the bear they believe best exemplifies winter preparedness by the fat they have accumulated over the summer feeding on the sockeye salmon that return to Brooks River. The bears often perch at the top of a falls in the river, grabbing leaping salmon out of the air as the fish attempt to hurdle the waterfall to spawn upstream. This is where Grazer's cub died after it slipped over the waterfall and was killed by Chunk, perhaps the most dominant brown bear on the river. Grazer fought Chunk in an effort to save the cub, but it later died. The death was captured on the live cameras.
Damn.
Yeah.
So this was personal. So yeah, the voting public has made their voice heard loud and clear on the issue of grizzly bears killing each other. It will not be tolerated.
I'm glad that people, the death of the other bear was a big scandal, but I think it really tugged at the heartstrings of the voters this year.
We cannot reward bear-on-bear crime.
No.
But is Grazer actually fatter than Chunk? I mean, looking at the pictures, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But Chunk is a very big boy, and you could certainly make the argument that this was Fat Bear Week voters voting against their interests. Their interests, of course, being picking the fattest bear in order to settle the score.
They had to vote with their hearts, Elliot.
They did. But hey, there's always next year. But in other news about dead animals, we recently talked about Hvalmir, the mysterious beluga whale that appeared off the coast of Norway a few years ago wearing a strange harness, leading to accusations that Hvalmir was a Russian spy whale. Now, spy or not, Hvalmir was clearly previously domesticated. So years were spent figuring out how to get Hvalmir back to his natural habitat in the Arctic. But in August, Hvalmir was found dead. Possibly, some say, murdered.
Former Russian spies ending up killed after defecting to a NATO country is a tale as old as time. But organizations dedicated to protecting Hvalmir believed he'd been shot by fishermen who were annoyed about the whale hanging out in all their favorite fishing spots. But now we have more answers. Here's the AP. The beluga whale that lived off Norway's coast and whose harness ignited speculation that it was a Russian spy was not shot to death as claimed by animal rights groups, but died of a bacterial infection, Norwegian police said Friday. A final autopsy by Norway's Veterinary Institute concludes that the probable cause of death was bacterial infection, possibly as a result of a wound in the mouth from a stuck stick. MWIII Revheims, head of the North Sea and Environment section of the police in southwestern Norway, said, I don't know, suspicious. Maybe they're trying to avoid an international scandal.
Could have been polonium.
It could be.
Yeah. Well, Russia, they don't use bullets as much anymore. They're a little more clever with it.
It was a bacterial infection, but it was consistent with wounds that the whale received after being tossed out of a third-story window.
Yeah, it's really strange.
Yeah, bizarre. How did it get up there? We don't know.
How do you defenestrate? There have been no findings from the autopsy that indicate that the whale has been shot, he stressed, adding that the autopsy had been made difficult by the fact that many of the whale's organs were very rotten.
Too smelly. Can't do it.
Stinky. As there was no indication of foul play, there was no reason to start a criminal investigation into its death, MWIII Revheim said. In September, animal advocate groups One Whale and NOAA filed a police report saying that the animal's wounds suggested it was intentionally killed. They pointed at several wounds found on the animal's skin, including what was interpreted as a bullet hole. Assessments made by the Veterinary Institute and the police's forensic technicians are that these are not gunshot wounds. X-rays of the chest and head were carried out without any projectiles or other metal fragments being detected, police said in a statement.
Damn, that was just a blowhole. Oh,
look at that.
I forgot that whales have both blowholes.
Yeah, it's a simple mistake. Yeah, big fucking hole right in the top of the head.
Must have hit him with an elephant gun.
Hvalmir got domed. Yeah.
So I guess it's slightly good that Hvalmir wasn't shot to death, but it still sounds like it was a pretty horrible way to die. So I guess natural causes.
Changing back.
Bacterial infection.
Gotta stick from somewhere. Okay. Yeah. As for what caused the wounds that so many were convinced were from gunshots, it's unclear. But earlier reports suggested it could have been birds or other animals scavenging off Hvalmir's corpse after he died. Now, in any case, it's a tragic end to an otherwise fun story, especially considering plans were in place to relocate Hvalmir to his natural habitat within the next year. But moving on to another story from the world of animals that thankfully does not involve any death. Welcome back after the show if you skipped the animal death part.
Deaths-free animal news.
It does still sound pretty terrifying. Raccoons are one of the few wild animals you inevitably will come in contact with, even if you live far from nature. And their apparent lack of fear of humans, especially when they're in a large group, can be pretty unsettling. Hey, they're pretty cute, though. So some people not only happily coexist with raccoons, they even leave food out for them.
Big mistake.
I have neighbors that do this.
Don't.
And, I know.
Stop.
I know.
Stop.
Maybe don't do that, please. But here's what can happen if you do from USA Today.
Video shows nearly 100 hungry raccoons, some allegedly aggressive, swarm a Washington state woman's home last week in broad daylight looking for their next meal. The animals were captured on film after the resident from Kitsap County, across Puget Sound from Seattle, called 911 when the mammals surrounded her rural home, preventing her from leaving the property, officials said. In footage shared by the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office, a deputy is heard speaking to the unidentified woman, who says the large numbers of raccoons began gathering in her wooded backyard about 6 weeks ago. The woman, who lives a few miles north of Suquamish, told deputies she had been feeding raccoons on her property for more than 38 years. Sheriff's Office spokesman Kevin McCarty told the Kitsap Sun, part of the USA Today network.
Multiple generations of raccoons have been, obviously that's why so many are
like
showing
38
up.
years, that's 38 generations.
Yeah.
These do not live long in the wild. They probably evolved to just like, in their DNA, they recognize this as where the food comes from.
The neighbor that does this has so many raccoon statues instead of like garden gnomes or whatever. It's clearly an obsession. But yeah, one day there's probably going to be a police helicopter that's floating above.
Yeah, they're going to break into that house.
They got those hands.
They got those hands, and yeah. One raccoon, hey, pretty cute. 100 raccoons?
The baby raccoons are so cute.
Yeah, sure. I had a skunk incident last weekend.
They get your dogs?
Not directly.
Okay.
They did just spray in the vicinity, though, and it got all over one of my dogs, who, of course, immediately ran in the house and started rubbing on all the furniture. We've been sleeping in the guest bedroom for a week because the main one, we've just been airing it out this entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a silly, absurd moment. There's 3 full-grown skunks in my yard. Dogs freaking out. The skunks just equally confused at the whole situation. One of them ran right past me. And
you didn't get sprayed.
I know. I was like a mix of like horrified and delighted. Because you rarely get to see a skunk up that close. And I'm just like, this situation is just absurd because both sets of animals were just like, what the fuck do I do? What do I do?
Yeah, I've come face to face with raccoons many times. Or I'm like walking by and like, hey, what's that? Oh, that's a family of raccoons like 10 feet away from me. Great. My dad almost submitted back in the 90s a video of him to America's Funniest Home Videos. We were on vacation. And he opened up the thing. There's a raccoon inside the trash can. And he got his buddy to like get it out, and they're like freaking out, and they're videotaping the whole thing, and it jumps out at them because they're it was very funny.
Bob Saget would have loved that.
The article continues. On the day she called for help, the woman told law enforcement she had never seen the wild animals arrive in such large droves. Only recently, she also said they had become aggressive.
The raccoons literally came home to roost.
Yeah, and probably because she got scared and stopped giving the food, so they got more aggressive.
Yeah.
She said the normal raccoons are nice, but the new ones scare her, McCarty said, citing a report from the
raccoons these days.
Who responded to the house on Thursday and spoke with the homeowner. The woman told the deputy the raccoons visited her property until they were fed, and anytime she attempted to leave her home, McCarty said, she would toss food at them. The animals regularly approach the home and scratch on the windows or walls at all hours of the day. Officials said the woman told them.
This woman has trapped herself. This is in a raccoon prison of her own design.
This is like that woman that got I guess inadvertently got attacked by all the vultures that wouldn't leave the house, and they just started, like living there.
Yeah.
Anyways, on a recent day, she called for help because she said she could not leave the property.
She had to pay the raccoon toll.
Yeah.
We've been telling all our friends and family in the world of raccoons that this is where the food is. Also, who the fuck are you? We come here and the food just appears, and you're just some person who's in our food territory.
You must be stealing the food.
You are still useful to me. Yeah, listen. I don't see any food, but if there was food here, it's for us, not for you, lady. And
one of those raccoons is gonna get a hold of a gun one day, and then it's gonna be real bad.
A small enough gun, they have the hands for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of raccoons. And yeah, they all look like they showed up hungry. Raccoons in the daytime, that is eerie.
Yeah, you don't see that very
at the end of the day. I think they're mostly asleep in the day, but these raccoons have adapted to a very unnatural situation that you have created, you idiot. Couple of raccoons, not a threat unless you intentionally go and try to pick a fight with them. You're going to need to go get a rabies shot. It's inconvenient. But 100 raccoons could, very conceivably, tear you limb from limb and just pick your bones clean with their cute little hands.
But then they would at least learn that they wouldn't get fed after that.
Yeah, well, that's true. And that's especially if you've conditioned them over several decades to view your house as the place where the food is. Wild raccoons only live like 2 to 3 years, so 4 decades of this lady feeding them means they've been coming to her for food for several dozen generations. And at this point, it's all they know. So yeah, the obvious lesson here is don't feed wild animals, you idiot. Don't do it. They don't need your help. They're animals.
Yeah. Anyways, this episode isn't sponsored, which is fine. But before we move on to the headlines after the show, we might as well take a moment to ask that you hit that like button now. Leave a comment to help with the YouTube algorithm. We always ask at the end, but sometimes people see the little end screen pop up and they're like, well, I guess that's done.
Yeah, that's where some of the best stuff is. That's your loss. Your loss.
Also, if you're feeling generous, it's not sponsored today. Become a member. Unlock a cool little badge next to your name. Maybe I'll update the emojis at some point that have been the same for 5 years.
I don't know if it ain't broke.
Do no buy. Do no fix. All right, with that out of the way, it's time for the weirdest, wildest, real news headlines from around the world, starting with
Trump, God bless the USA Bibles printed in China, records show.
Obviously, just like everything else he produces.
Yeah, it's all made in China, the country that he hates, that they're taking American jobs. You know, it used to be the Bibles were made in America, but now they're made in China.
Sorry, folks.
And yes,
I'm a businessman.
The crazy is they kind of buried the lead here because they looked at all the records and the Bibles cost Trump $3 a piece. And he is selling them for $60.
It's a wonderful deal.
Huge profit margins.
Yeah. He would do very well on Shark Tank.
He would.
Yeah.
But Mark Cuban's there, and he's very nasty.
Oh, but Mr. Wonderful's there, and he's very kind to Trump.
Loves the crypto. Have fun with your bitcoins.
Have fun with your little bitcoins. Canadian immigrant, by the way.
See, not all immigrants are bad.
Did you bring up the Trump Mormon stuff?
Oh, I did see that.
He produced
he's selling
beer koozies and coffee mugs
to
Mormons.
Mormons for Trump, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could use a beer koozie as a...
Coke can koozie?
Well, they can't have Coke because it's got caffeine.
Caffeine-free Coke.
Maybe a ginger ale. Maybe
root beer.
Maybe a delicious Barks root beer.
No, Elliot, that one has bite. Barks has bite.
Yeah, it's a koozie, and what was the other thing?
A coffee mug.
I mean,